So I'm back. What the hell, bro? So look, this is perfect. I'm gonna edit the shit out of this thing when it goes live, obviously. Um, I'm back. I know, bad night. Bad night for lives. Bad night. Bad night. It's all right. Um, so where was I? Let's see if I can pick this up and put something together. We'll cut this thing up. It'll look awesome when it goes to YouTube after I finally clean these up, right? Who cares, right? Who cares? We're in April, the month of fools, where I am learning to experiment and figure things out. And so we're just going to go with it. We're going to fuck it, do it live kind of shit. That's the kind of mood we're in. So we'll go from there. All right. So, look, the point of this whole thing was originally to talk about how bad of a communicator I am, but also how can you talk about politics? And part of it has to be that you have to at least respect the other person's opinion. And part of what I was saying earlier, if you caught any of this bullshit live stream that I'm doing tonight, is that I don't do a very good job of giving people the benefit of doubt. And it's a problem, and I'm going to share this with you. If you guys are still on, hopefully you're hearing this. This is going to be a little bit of a personal anecdote. When I was doing Smashing the Party originally, there were folks that would contribute and send me things in my inbox. You know, I had a lot of, I had at one point there was 120,000 reach in that Facebook number, and it was a good amount. You know, it was pretty good. I was boosting things, but I was rolling, and you know, nothing fancy, but I had folks that would just kind of just send me stuff. It was great because, you know, I was working too, and just like I am. And so I'm doing this, and next thing you know, I look at my inbox and there's 10, 20 articles, and they're written up by the folks that are sending it. And there's a couple folks that would do that on a regular basis. One of them actually passed away. I did an interview with him. He had a heart attack and passed away while I was driving. He was actually on this show, but he used to do the same thing. He would send me articles, nothing but just fill my inbox up. And then there was another person who did the same thing, really intelligent guy and real smart, and it would fill my inbox up with things and really have like real smart commentary for it, right? Like I was like, wow, this is amazing. Can I use it? Oh yeah, sure. You can even repost it. Sure, I never did. Maybe a couple times I did, but I said from an astute reader or something like that. But one time it's actually recently, the issue came up with realtor stuff, with this whole change in realtor. And I feel strongly about it. If you watched a couple of my shows, I feel strongly that the system could be better. I don't hate realtors, but I just think that they're overpaid in some ways. And look, you're not going to tell me anything I don't know about that business. Sorry. But, you know, so I feel strongly about it. And so, you know, this person was way smarter than me. But this was somewhere they didn't know a lot of information. And I was kind of in the middle of some stuff, and that we were walking through it, and I was being kind of hoity-toity, but very snarky about it. And it was in print. And this person took offense to it and blocked me and like kind of removed me. And I was like, kind of had, you know, I don't think he had a lot of friends on Facebook. I don't know how social he is, but I know he's a well-liked guy and really, really intelligent. But he sent something to me and said that stung. He said, you know, this is part of your problem, that you don't listen or whatever. You know, this is the core of your issue. It was pretty painful stuff. It was like, yeah, he's a smart guy. So, you know, he went for the gullet. I was kind of like, holy shit, I didn't realize what I was doing. I didn't realize that I was demeaning him in a way. And I've had to explain this to people before. And this is, again, another challenge for me, is that part of how my brain works, and I'm not fucking special, I'm not trying to say that, but how my brain works, how I think is that in order for me to believe something or understand something, I need to kind of just break it out. And so I kind of have a hacker brain, if you will. Like I like to just like break things or take them apart so that I understand the thing that it is. And this even works in arguments or whatever. And so part of that process for me is ridiculing the weird things that I come up with. I'm not kidding. This is I'm never attacking that person unless I am. But when I'm beginning to win the art or to formulate my response, oftentimes I've already gone through this ridiculous outcome of taking that argument that they're backing and saying, well, it ends up here if you go to the nth degree. Now it sounds weird, but that is definitely a pattern for neurotypical brain where you just kind of go down the path and it's a lack of focus. So it's just like the train goes the whole way down and just takes that whole thing. It can be useful, but you can be on the wrong train sometimes, right? So you have to learn how to manage that, which I've done a pretty good job of doing, per se. So that frustration for me is compounded by the fact that I've thought about that argument many different ways, not everything, and that's another thing. Like I'm impatient, so it looks like I'm not listening because I'm that guy. You probably have a friend that's ADHD and they just jump all over the conversation. That's how I am, and I'm not trying to, but I'm right. And so you try to learn how to bite your tongue or try to do something in the meantime, and people think you're not paying attention. So then people think you're not um that you're snob or cocky or whatever. So it's all this shit and how you communicate. And this is my struggle. I've actually had people in my jobs tell me that they think, and it's the opposite. You guys may think, oh, you seem pretty cocky on here or whatever, but I'm confident about something that I like to do, and this is what I like to do. But there's a lot of, I suffered severe imposter syndrome. So those type of things would come back to me. I'm like, why are they people thinking I'm cocky? Like, it's like, what are they talking about? Just because I walk into a room and I'm thinking that this is what I'm doing, and so I'm going to do it, it bothered me for a long time. And so, but I realized that there was things that I was doing in my communication style that just doesn't work normally. And kind of minimizing somebody's words as they're coming out of their mouth with a frown or something, it doesn't go well. And so, I think that's part of it. And I'm not this, if you're looking at me like, should I hire Nate to do, dude, I'm the fucking shit at what I do. Okay. So don't even question that. I'm just saying that, especially because I know what I'm doing. I'm just saying that I do, I have certain boundary, barriers that make it difficult for me to appreciate someone else's perspective when I believe in my heart of hearts that I've thought of that perspective. And that's really, it sounds so elitist. And I get it why people think that's cocky. I get it. Look, I'm saying it, you're like, dude, you fucking go walk back and watch that shit. You're a fucking asshole, man. You fucking just minimize people while they're talking to you. You're like discounting their words before they say them. I know, and I know that's bad, and so I'm in therapy for many things, but that's one of the things I talk about is becoming a better listener and kind of getting through that. So, the whole thing tonight through my really awful, the whole demonstration. This was all part of the act, was to make sure that you guys understand. Look at this, watch this. I can fumble through the fucking stream, and you can still fucking get something out of it, right? No, but for real, I struggle with it, and I have done things that I know people shouldn't do. I block people on a fucking dime. I mean, I will, like, if I'm having a bad day, and I block them on block, they're done, forget about them. People do it to me too, and for whatever reason. But I've done this before, and I know that's not good. I have low tolerance. Now I have some baselines that I try to stand by, and that's like, all right, look, we're gonna have agreement on certain things and certain definitions of things. And once somebody sways from that, then I'm fucking out and left. I'm angry. Like, for instance, if someone's like, well, this is an example that, if I don't think this person watches, but this is the one that fucking pissed me off. Donald Trump is not a racist. He's just a bigot. So it's okay. And so I'm like, okay. And I'm just fumbling around with fucking, what the fuck does that mean? You can sit there and go, well, Nate, the actual definition of bigot. Okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. We're not justifying one's worse than the other. We're just going to say they're both shitty ass fucking things and they both come from the same damn shit. And if you didn't think about that long enough, maybe go through the dictionary, look up both definitions, and then look at the core thing that drives both of those things. But anyway, so again, I really thought about doing this tonight with all the fun that I had getting set up. But I thought, like, I'm just gonna admit how bad I am at it. I have family members I don't talk to. I probably can't talk to them just because it's so weird. I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't, and I look, I love them, but it's just like I don't say I don't talk to them. I'll say hi and all that stuff, but I don't have. I feel like it definitely created a divide for my family, for me. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to air my laundry. If family's fine, we're good, we're all healthy, and like every other family, we do our dance. But I feel like I don't know. It's not an open forum to talk about politics, and I feel there's there a lot of people feel strongly about it. It's okay. Like, I'm not hating on anybody for having those opinions, but it's hard for me to reconcile some of them when we have the same background. So it becomes a little bit more personal, I guess, communicating politics maybe for family. So, everyone's probably watching this like, dude, of course you can't talk about politics with people. I mean, I'm trying to approach this with like, my flaws are just numerous of like, I don't have patience, ADHD checks in. I've thought or think I know about the argument because I've kind of presented myself as having a position. So then therefore I have some position. So I'm not saying, I guess I go armed and that's why people get rubbed the wrong way. And I'm sure, because it looks like I'm coming in. They're like, oh, I want to know about this. I'm coming in with fucking bazookas, like, I mean, if you're not paying attention to things, and that even sounds condescending. Again, it's like a fucking circle. Like, how do we? The one thing I thought about today of like what I would do better is like just trying to find commonalities, right? You always have the politician that's like holding the baby and they're doing that shit. That's why they do that grind. Everyone knows what a baby's like, and everyone knows what it's like to hold one. And oh my gosh, that man's holding a baby. Like, so it's just going right for the freaking, it's like the primal thing, right? It's like, oh wow, I can relate with that guy holding a baby. Holy shit, I gotta vote for him. What? I can't even think about anything else except vote for that guy to hold a baby, right? That's the emotional response they want you to have. And deep down somewhere, there might be a little hint of that, right? But the point is, like, where was I going? Damn, that was a good analogy with the baby thing. Communicating. Oh, yeah. So, they're also trying to communicate, trying to get you to do things and communicate in a way that's going to motivate you. And so they're also going to have their own agenda. And so that's the other thing. It kind of rides back into, I know I skipped topic there a little bit, but it rides back into my topic from yesterday, part 1, if you will. I think you're supposed to say that so people go and look at your old videos. Part 1 of this video is talking about communication, and this kind of just rolls right into it of you have to also filter that communication where it's coming from. And so, a politician, how they communicate politics is going to be different than how we communicate it to each other. They're going to communicate it to us as like, hey, this is a good thing and I'm trying to help everybody. And you're looking at it like, well, that doesn't really work for me. And so there's a communication barrier right there. And that person's not talking your politics. So that's a whole nother dynamic. And I think that's kind of going around the question a little bit. But I guess my point is that you can kind of come up with talking points that a politician uses. And if you're using those in your day-to-day communication, you're not really adding any value. And so oftentimes that's another frustration point where I get frustrated is like, all right, you're not really talking about the commonality of me believing this issue. You're just repeating this thing that they said that's been market tested and just works and it rolls off the tongue and whatever the fuck thing that they got going on that they've backed this term or whatever that you're repeating. So another thing is like really just understanding. And that's where it's like, I guess the commonality is why you got to go for that. You got to figure out, look, I talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is like this notion of everybody has at their baseline these core things that you need. And then, it kind of levels up. So it's a hierarchy of needs that you need. You need food, water. You can't really. It's not like you're going to go out and like go work a good job if you can't eat. If you can't, you have nothing to eat and drink. So it builds up. That's the layman's simplification of that. And then there's other things like, awareness and self-awareness, self-activation that happens. You can't really do any of those things when you just have your basic needs met. So part of like, what the hell, where was I going with that? Damn it, that was a good one. Today is chaos, folks. Today's chaos. I can't look. There's no reason for it other than just the world just wants to challenge me and show me that even in the face of error, I have to plow on. Bringing it back, I just want to just kind of wrap this because my core is to how to communicate, and I kind of talked about how I failed. And then I walk through of like, differentiating between like how you communicate with each other. If you're using the same talking points that a politician's using, it's not going to make any sense for us. And so you have to try to find that commonality, right? That commonality is where the politician goes out and tries to make themselves look like the common person by doing things like baby grasping and all that shit, right? So, by the way, nailed it, wrapped it all up. So the commonality is kind of the solution for me in that you have to figure it out. And the Maslow's hierarchy needs is like, we all know we need food, right? We all know everyone. So that's why when I was doing I did a live on TikTok there where I'm saying like, look, we need to get the basics out of the way for the whole entire planet. No one should be going to Mars until we fucking fix starving. Like, so because no one can really find their full potential if they don't have the basic needs, right? And so for me, part of communicating politics is trying to help everyone understand, like, look, if somebody doesn't have these basic needs, and you can go through the whole hierarchy, and that's what's kind of interesting about using that analogy is because, you talk about the higher up stuff, which is more kind of cerebral and allowing that person to find themselves and activate and feel love and everything else. All those things are up here. They don't happen really easily unless these things down. By the way, if I'm butchering Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I don't give a shit. This is Nate's interpretation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs with a modification of it to help articulate this concept, which everyone's getting. You're understanding there's layers of it. And so if you can't eat, sleep and, take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to do these things. I mean, that's why you're not seeing like billion-dollar ideas coming out of folks from homelessness. I mean, you don't have the means, resources, but also you're struggling to find your basic needs. And so commonality, that's a commonality. That's like something that I hope people can understand. Like, look, let's deal with these problems. But that's another place where I go off the tangent and frustrated communicating politics because like if I can't get them to have some sympathy and they're just like, well, fuck it, then that's a stupid, politics is about like, the people. It's about how things work and all the fucking machinations that we come up with to create a civil society. And those things, that's all part of politics. Oh, I don't do politics. Bullshit. You're doing politics when you open the door, walk outside, when you go to your 9 to 5, whatever it is, you're doing politics. So I know I got people, they say they're not doing politics. They won't come on the show to do politics. You're not going to do politics with my show, fine, but you're politics in all the fucking place every single day. Okay, so we're all doing it. It's like part of like living is like somebody else is trying to take resources or the system's trying to fuck you or the system was created for someone else's benefit. And somehow you're just a cog. We're all just kind of in the system. It's all politics. People say don't do politics. I'm like, so you can see why I'm not fun to talk politics with because I'm like, what do you mean you don't give a shit? I mean, there's a lot of shit I don't give a shit right about, but like, I mean, when it comes to things and looking at the system, and this is kind of another thing for me that I struggle with, looking at this system going, my God, this is awful. How would you design this? This is shit. This is total trash. Like capitalism is the worst. I'm not saying it is absolutely so full of shit flaws. If you can't see that, I mean, come on. That's another one. It's like, if you think it's perfect, why do we have homeless people? If you think it's, well, we don't chew out. Okay, well then what do we have? We have a shitstorm of whatever. So whatever, you know what I mean? Like those arguments just fall flat. And so for me, if you have a basic understanding of the commonalities between you and that person, then you should be able to find some, solid ground. And part of the challenge with family is you have all that commonalities. And then when you're different politics, that becomes the thing that just can push you apart. And oftentimes it's because in my case, everyone else that has an opposing view is fucking completely wrong. All right. And so that's part of the reason why I struggle with communicating politics, because I don't know if you've put in the time and effort to think through your fucking argument. And that definitely comes from a position of spending a lot of time awake in my brain. And it's not coming from a position of like power or control or even like that I'm better. It's like, dude, like you guys were sleeping and I'm just glogging through these fucking arguments because my brain won't shut down. Blah, 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 blah. Just racing around, just doing nothing while you guys are like, what are you doing now? I'm just fucking thinking about dumb shit that no one should be thinking about right now. I know. Well, I don't know. I mean, it is really, and I want to do a parlor trick sometime with people when people are like, oh no, you don't know what they're gonna say. Okay, I'll fucking go in that room and write an envelope, and we will open that envelope and we will see. And so when I say that, you definitely know, like Nate. Oh my God, you are the worst at communicating politics with somebody that has an opposing view and hearing them. But that's not true if the viewpoint, first of all, I'm okay with, tit for tat, but it has to come from data, and I can be wrong. I'm wrong. Now, when you start in another thing, right? You start to talk about why people have certain viewpoints. I don't believe you can legislate morality. Boom. That breaks off like half the people go nuts over that because they think, well, of course you can legislate morality. So then like now everything that's based on that for me is a struggle. And we lost commonality. So I really quickly get off the commonality train really quickly with somebody when I'm lost on their logic or their thinking. I immediately kind of become resentful at the way they thought of that idea. I can still like them. But I do, I said that in the beginning on the other one. I was like, I don't attack people. I start to think, well, why are they thinking like that? Like, what's wrong with them? And so, and I have been wrong, but not vocally outright wrong. Even the fuck people are like, oh, you were wrong about the Russian thing. No, I wasn't. Fucking read the damn thing. Still stand by everything that's in the document, that like when a sane person reads it. So look, I was wrong many times. And I'm not going to stand here and say that. But like, I think my challenge is, as you can see, it's ego. And even though I don't want to say that I'm better than somebody, but there's a lot of little challenges for me to get through when somebody's kind of coming at the argument that I believe I've thought out well and they haven't. And then I think, well, maybe they need to do some more work. And that's bad. So the answer to the question of how do you communicate politics to people that have different opinions and how do you maintain that relationship? I don't fucking know. I know you got to try to find some common ground, but if they're idiots and they're thinking that the guys that's walking around talking about Mexicans are rapists and doing racist shit, and they're not they're not at least willing to acknowledge that, and also acknowledge and say, well, like that's not that big a deal, and he didn't mean that, or at least, I mean, it's always some dance. It's always some dance of like the things that, and by the way, you can probably understand why racism's like a high thing for me. Just I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be. I really don't. I don't want it to be. I fucking don't want it to be. I would rather not it be something. I promise you, I don't want to. I don't want to. I'd love to not have to fucking worry about it, but I have to. So it's like a fucking thing. I'm like, boom, politics. No matter what, boom, politics. I don't want to do politics. Yeah, you fucking gonna do politics. You're doing politics, bro. When you fucking walk in the store and there's people following you around because you just fucking people. I don't do politics. You're lucky. You're lucky you don't do politics, I guess. Anyway, so now I sound like an asshole. They don't watch anyway. But so as you can see, I just demonstrated poor communication, my complete utter lack of respect for people's grogging through, and the real challenge for me is that's actually how I think. Like I think in real time. So, I'm not very patient with folks. So I'm gonna put the, now that I kind of opened up my soul, I'll say I'm gonna work on it. I can do better. I know I can do better. I don't know. There's a couple things that still bother me, but I find it difficult to fall on the sword and apologize when I don't feel like I've done anything wrong. So that's another thing. By the way, this is obviously personal for me because it's been a struggle. I've struggled with like fucking like, nope, you're done. Cut, 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 cut. I can't, no, 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 no. So, I mean, this is something I'm struggling with. Um, and I'm very, very tough to, especially when I feel like somebody wronged me. And I feel like a lot of times, being on an island with certain views, I felt like perhaps maybe I wasn't on an island, but I thought I was. Then I get even more defensive, right? So I think you have to be not defensive. You have to be open-minded. You have to obviously love that person or at least care about that person enough that where you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to convince them right now. And that's my challenge too, by the way. I forgot that one. I can't let it go. Fuck, I can't let it go. Mm-mm. I mean, I remember it. And you're probably like, oh, well, no, I don't. You're not gonna get my archetype. Okay. I'm not a fucking narcissist. I'm not a fucking complete empath. I'm a fucking wacky. And I don't keep score of everything, but that's one thing where it's like it's challenging. I have to work on that. So for me, when someone's challenging my politics in a way that I take personally, it becomes very difficult. And I become kind of toddler-esque, if you will. So that's the answer. Don't do what Nate does. Listen to people, try to understand them. I do learn though, and I don't want to say I don't learn. So listen, this thing's been a shit show tonight. So I'm gonna wrap. I don't even know if I mean, I could possibly not even be streaming right now. I mean, it looks like I'm streaming, but fuck, this has been one of those nights. But I'm going to wrap and I'm going to obviously kind of just talk about a couple things, especially about tonight. The technical stuff. I don't care. I wanted to actually talk about this in the beginning, but I had so many technical difficulties that it just worked out. I'm going to let you know that I'm going to plow through the technical bullshit. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is because that stuff will bother me. It bothers the hell out of me. But as you can see, like I'll just figure it out and I'm always trying new stuff. I'm happy to say this week I didn't try a whole bunch of new shit. I know it might look like I did, but I didn't. And there's a lot of new shit I want to try. And so I'm always tweaking it a little bit. And so we're always going to be doing that. And I'm okay. There's not, one of the things I know, my thumbnails totally suck. I know that my sound has been off a couple times. I know my video is not centered sometimes. All that stuff I know. In my soul, my thing right now, this month or this time, as I'm grinding this 4, 5, 10-year track, whatever the fuck it takes, is me improving the whole time. And so as long as that's happening, I'm okay with that. So tonight, of course, it was a digression. But part of it is also trying to figure out, all right, can I figure it out? Can I go? And I didn't figure it out tonight, but I fucking did it. And I came on board and I didn't get you can kind of run into that perfectionism where you're not doing it. And part of the thing that I think is going to help me go forward is the content that I'm able to do dynamically in real time, hopefully continue and keep my brain healthy. But I think that's something that all the technical stuff can go away. You know what I mean? That can get fixed. We can, as I get better, I can have better software, more automation, working on automation already. So, I just wanted to say that despite all the challenges, I'm happy. I'm happy about tonight's, just a couple things to talk about that are positive. I got everything basically loaded up so I can cart it. I did that yesterday, and today was the first time where I just literally didn't have to wheel around this entire thing. Picked up my backpack, and then and the camera bag, and then grabbed the tripod and the iPhone holder, and that was it. So I was able to walk in here, get set up in about 15 minutes. Again, there were some issues, not gonna lie. So that's the kind of progress I'm looking at, and I'm okay with, like, sometimes you guys are gonna be. I'm gonna expose major issues to my audience of 20 or whatever you are. I'm not minimizing you guys, by the way. I love it. I love that people watch. But again, so that's why, I'm kind of coming at this just with a lot of grace. And also, you have no idea the amount of time that I think about the last night or whatever I said or that thing or however I said it. So that if I'm spending time on that, uh, that's not time that's thinking about the next concept. So I've really gotten better this second round of just going, all right, you know what? Let's go to the thing. Let's do it. Let's watch. And don't over beat yourself up. Because the comments that are coming as you grow and as even where I was before, people don't give a shit. So the other thing I wanted to let everyone know is that as I'm growing this, I have to kind of watch the people that are in my network, because that doesn't bode well for growing the network when you have people that are trying to corrupt it. So I've been doing kind of cleaning up my social media. And what that means is I'm not going to follow crap anymore. And I was following a lot of crap, a lot of shit. And people think a certain way of me because I follow certain shit. And I really don't care about that part. But it also means that I'm following less people that really don't give a fuck about what I'm doing. And not because I'm mad, but because I'm not watching their stuff. And so as you start to look into the nuance of these algorithms, you start to realize, like, all right, my likes are kind of valuable, and not your likes are valuable. Every engagement you have on the platform is valuable. That's where you get the most bang your buck. So you, as me, have a lot of power to engage on the platform. And obviously I've been begging for you to engage on mine. But if you're not engaging on it, I'm not offended if you move on. I'm really not. In fact, I'm looking more at, like, you know what? Even the haters are fine engagement. And I think some people know that, and that's why they cater to the haters. They take a life of polemics. They're basically just arguing the most counterpoint to try to get that churn. And that's an effort. I don't want to do that. That's not authentic. But I think, as I look over the last couple weeks of doing it and kind of where I want to go, I'm constantly reminded of where I was when I felt good about that. And I look back at some of those videos and they're not that great, just like these aren't that great. But I enjoyed it, and I also kind of grew it even with all the hiccups that I had. So the technical stuff's not going to prevent it from growing at all. It never does. It's just like if you're really good, you figure out that you get the people like it, and then the technical stuff comes through. I mean, you got to have good sound, you got to have good pick. I can't be, not have sound. I'm hoping I have sound right now. But anyway, so look, I'm plowing through. I just want to say, like, I got more nice words from folks about the content, as well as just like, hey, some folks that don't agree with me doing the right thing and saying, look, I don't agree with things you say all the time, but I enjoy hearing you talk. So for me, that's awesome. And it actually melts me. And this is part of the challenge of doing this, is like taking that good stuff and like allowing yourself to feel good about something that you did, but then also kind of being aware that the negative stuff's coming. And so I just need to, that's, look, I'm getting all fucking like, come on, Nate, whatever. But this is the struggle with putting yourself out there on a platform, is I'm trying to communicate. The whole point of tonight was to talk about I'm trying to communicate my version of what I think is a better system in politics. And it's going to go right at the heart of what people feel and they believe. And so it's going to be difficult for people to watch me. Some folks don't think me the same. Some people think I'm an asshole. Some people think I'm cocky and just an ass. I'm doing this because of the vanity, and I'm doing it for my own, to get people that, so they know me. I don't care. Really, all that stuff's going to happen no matter what. What I do know is that I'm looking over this week and I'm looking about where I'm at, and I'm enjoying it in a different way than I was before. And I think that while I enjoyed it and loved getting riff, and I love riffing and getting pissed off, and there's going to be more I'm going to get pissed off about. I realize that this is, for me, is kind of a time where I can kind of reset my day. And so, as I said, my brain's always going. And so it kind of gives me a time where I can just kind of let it out. Let's just call it the zoomies that I get at night. It's kind of where I can vent that, and no one has to take the brunt of that energy in any other way. And I'm not, it sounds awful, but, so this is good for me. And so no matter what, whether it stumbles through like tonight, or whether you even are hearing this now and this sounds that shitty, I love it and I'm excited about it. And so I want to say thank you for everyone that's given me support. And it's been coming from weird places. I don't mean weird, by the way. When I say that, I just mean like unexpected places that I'm like, oh wow, cool. That was really nice. Like, wow, holy shit. So and I don't even feel pathetic saying it. Like it's part of me has struggled with like, all right, well, I don't know how to take help, and so saying it, but it's just great to know like these little pockets of interest are there. And it's like, all right, I want to find more of those little pockets. And so that's another thing. It's actually good in the way I'm handling it now is because it's like, all right, that's my person right there. All these people that are my friends, I'm fine with them. They don't care about what I'm doing on this. It's fine. No one has to, not everyone has to give a shit, right? But that person right there, so now I got one and all my friends, they're cool. Everyone's cool. I need to go find some more of these people that were like that think like that. And there's like 8 billion. So it's really kind of encouraging when you look at it from that perspective of, okay, the hate's coming. But you know what? The haters are going to come no matter what. But if I can find the folks that give you the boost every now and then, that's I think that's nice. And I say all that with tongue in cheek because you can't rely on that to keep you going. But it's nice. And so thank you. I want to say thank you. Awesome. Again, the struggle's real with the tech, me trying new shit. But I love it and I'm happy that you guys are enjoying it. And I hope to continue doing this for a long time. So with that being said, and without getting all sappy, I'm going to wrap. I'm not sure how I'm going to mold these two things out. At least I don't have a thumbnail. It's going to confuse the shit out of people. Which video do I watch? Blah, blah, blah. I'm probably not going to edit it for a while. So we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to roll with it. And people are just going to go, what the hell? And then we're going to look back at this time and like, ha, 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 ha. Remember how shitty you were? You just rolled out your videos. You didn't even edit them. You just put them out without doing anything, any kind of post. You just put that shit out there. You crazy. Ha, ha, ha. All right. So we'll look back and laugh. In the meantime, come back tomorrow, 10:30. Please like TikTok. I got a couple campaigns going on TikTok. So go on TikTok. I'm allowed to stream now live. I usually follow up with a live after this. And really, I'm just kind of TikTok they got their shit together. They actually sent me a video they actually said to my one content, they're like, it's not original. It wasn't original, but I was like, okay, well, geez. They're like, no, you can't promote that because it's not original content. I did it. It was a video of me doing this thing, but they were like, no, we can't do that because we don't think you should promote that because it's not original. We've seen that before. It's like, damn, that's some crazy shit. So I also got suspended for driving. You're doing a live and driving, like it just kicked me off and they're like, nope, you can't do it. We're driving. So, I mean, the AI determined that because I already told my phone I wasn't driving. So their AI, the real-time video feed was determined that I was driving. I mean, you may not realize that's amazing, but it is. So I said I was going to wrap. You got to follow me. You got to like, it's important for me to get that the growth. There's number requirements on each platform. Fucking YouTube has 1,000. I'm at 90. No, I'm at 42. Okay. YouTube has 1,000. I'm at 42. TikTok, because I registered as a business, Smashing the Party's business, I now need 10,000. I thought I needed 1,000. They gave me, somehow I got in that I can do some of the stuff at 1,000. So it's not that I'm happy to stay at 10,000 and then stay at 1,000. Like I said, I want to find 1,000 hardcore people ultimately, but I need you to follow and like it and share it. Do all that shit. Comment. Say you suck tonight. Oh my God. You guys have a major thread on that one, by the way, with me having sound. Maybe that's the trick. Maybe next time I just fucking fake the sound back. So you guys are like, blah, 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 blah. The sound's not, blah, blah, and then I'll just get all that engagement. I don't know. All right. Anyway, listen, thanks for checking in. Thanks for staying with me. Apologies to all the hiccups, but shit's real. Struggle's real. See you tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. It's the final night. We'll do it. We'll fucking knock it out of the park tomorrow. Stay tuned. Check it out tomorrow at 10:30 p.m.